Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Oba's Trending Gist, where we break down stories that have everyone talking. Today, we are diving into a saga that has everything: a music legend, a passenger plane, a dramatic showdown on an airport tarmac, and a minister laying down the law. We are talking about the king of Fuji music himself, Wasiu Ayinde Marshal, also known as K1 the Ultimate, and his clash with a ValueJet at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. This isn't just about a celebrity getting angry. This is a serious issue of aviation safety, accountability, and infamous big man syndrome in Nigeria. The Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, has now stepped in with a sledgehammer, directing the NCAA to place K1 on a no-fly list. We are going to break down the entire incident with clips from the Arise News team. First, let's hear the news report and the immediate fiery reaction from Rufai Oseni after he saw the video evidence of what went down. So let's watch this.
And now lastly, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Management, Festus Keyamo, yesterday directed the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, to place Fuji star Wasiu Ayinde, also known as K1 the Ultimate, on a no-fly list. The minister, in a statement issued via his X handle, said he had received reports from all the relevant aviation agencies regarding the altercation between the staff and crew of ValueJet and Ayinde at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on Tuesday, August 7, 2025. He noted that he had also received video footage of the incident. Minister Keyamo explained that from all the details he received so far, his preliminary impression was that it was a case of temporary loss of sanity and control on both sides, which could have led to serious fatalities. He added, and I quote, "Contrary to what the agents of K1 have said, he constantly moved his position on the tarmac to actually block the aircraft from taxiing to take position on the runway for takeoff." Meanwhile, the NCAA has officially petitioned the Attorney General of the Federation and the Inspector General of Police to launch a thorough investigation into the incident involving the musician and the domestic airline. Well, I remember yesterday, Rufai, you were advocating for, for videos, yes, for whatever people, bystanders, could have, recorded with their phones. So videos came out.
And it showed that obviously lots of people listen and watch Arise News. And videos came out, and I was shell-shocked at what I saw. So, like yesterday, I was positive what Donald Rumsfeld said, from known to unknown. So what do I know today? Now I know that there was a flask, because I saw it in the video. In fact, it was a gold-colored flask. I know there was a flask. The content in the flask, I don't know. Secondly, I know that K1 had an altercation with people around the plane. And while the pilot was trying to taxi the plane, K1 kept on moving in front of the plane. That's wrong. 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 Who do you think you are, mister? Who do you think you are? To stay in front of a plane. You were provoking the pilot deliberately. It's wrong because it didn't go your way. You didn't get on board the plane. You didn't listen to your rules and regulations. You were deplaned. Then you stood in front of the plane will not go. Is this Mushi bus stop? No, it's a tarmac. Totally wrong. The pilot, too, was also wrong. Whatever the case might be, out of provocation, you hold people's lives in your hands. Despite the fact that you people were there, you attempted to move, that they had to dock under the plane. That was equally wrong. But from what I saw yesterday, it doesn't put K1 in any glory. And please, the assertion is spokesperson is trying to push that because the owner of the jet, the airline called him and everything. No. The owner of the jet will normally try to placate things. Does not mean that you are totally right, because the owner of the jet was not there. I'm sure if he saw this video, he will not be happy with K1. So it is totally wrong. So all the aspersions they cast on K1 yesterday, I totally support it. What he did was totally wrong, and I'm happy Festus Keyamo have put his big stick on the ground. They're going to investigate. In fact, NCAA said they've petitioned the Attorney General of the Federation. They've petitioned all those necessary. They've put him on a no-fly list for 6 months. Nobody should pick him up. I don't know if that applies to private jets, but even private jet operators too should watch it. We must not condone such a thing in the country. What is bad is bad. It has no more than one name. It's bad. So I condemn him on this one.
Wow, you can feel the raw passion in Rufai Oseni's voice. And honestly, he has every right to be that angry. The key takeaways from that first part are staggering. Rufai confirms what the video shows. K1 was physically and repeatedly moving to block the aircraft from taxiing to the runway for takeoff. Rufai rightly calls this what it is: a dangerous and unacceptable act of impunity. He points out the flags, the altercation, and the sheer audacity of someone thinking they can hold a commercial aircraft and its passenger hostage because they were deplaned for breaking the rules. His question, "Who do you think you are, Mr.?" echoes what millions of Nigerians feel when they see this kind of entitlement. It's not Moshi bus stop, as he rightly said. It's a federal airport tarmac, a highly sensitive and secure zone. Now let's get more structured perspective from Dr. Reuben Abati. He breaks down the aviation rules and the wide societal problem this incident exposes. Let's play the second part, so sit back and take a watch.
The most basic thing in aviation is security, is safety. I think it was shocking yesterday that we had the news that King Wasiu Ayinde Marshal Anifuoshe, popularly known as K1, found himself in a situation whereby he had to be engaging the flight authorities with regard to the fact that he was carrying a plastic container, which they said was containing liquid above the limit. The nature of that liquid, even Keyamo, the Minister of Aviation himself, says it doesn't matter. But rules are rules. Now, he refused to drop that flask. He insisted on carrying it onto the flight. That led into an altercation with the pilot, the captain of the flight, who said that flask must be dropped. He refused. The pilot insisted on his being ejected from the flight, upon which he decided to go and stand in front of the aircraft to see that the aircraft would not move. And the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development has provided video evidence to that effect, that he was trying to obstruct the flight. What Festus Keyamo, the minister, described as a hostage situation. So one, according to aviation rules, safety is important. No person who is flying has the right to jeopardize the interest, the safety, the security of the aircraft itself, and also of all passengers and crew members on board. Two, the minister went a step further to say, however, if the passenger misbehaves in this manner, the pilot also should not have said, "Oh, I will run the flight," and then you have a passenger running and blocking up and down. And that in itself is something that is totally unacceptable, as Festus Keyamo put it. So this is the background. Now, how was the matter treated? The pilot was now placed on suspension. Our license was suspended. And then Keyamo came in after reviewing the evidence provided by the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority and said, no, both parties are wrong. Captain Oluranti Ogoyi has no right to say she will fly while there was a passenger standing in front trying to hold the flight hostage, and in fact, by extension, trying to commit suicide. And that the other party should also be punished. And it is on the basis of that the minister directed that K1 should be placed on a no-flight suspension for 6 months. So, having established the background and the facts of the case, my opinion is that the minister acted well by preventing a situation whereby the big man syndrome prevailed, because it was the pilot that was first sanctioned, saying we are suspending your license. The minister now said, no, the passenger also behaved very badly. You know, in this country, we have what is called the big man syndrome. If you are a big man, you can get away with anything. The same K1 who was fighting at the airport would not have done that in the US. He would not have done it in the UK. In fact, he would have been arrested on the spot and thrown into detention for sabotaging and posing a threat to the lives of other passengers and for blocking aviation operations. So Nigerians first have to learn the lesson about big manism. ValueJet is owned by an Ijebu man. Now, K1 is the Olori Omoba Akile Ijebu, you know, a very prominent Ijebu chieftain. He should realize that the Ijebu kingdom does not exist, does not extend to the Murtala Mohammed Airport. No, that's an empirical fact.
No, I take exception.
No, it's an empirical fact. It does not extend. This is federal government territory. You don't go there and overrule federal authority because you are a chieftain of a kingdom within the sovereignty of Nigeria. The third point is that some people have also read, you know, gender relations into it. A K1 saying, I'm a big man, who the hell are you? Pilot. But you see, that's the space of the pilot. And that's why I think that Rontilicious, as she's otherwise called, you know, she also be protected. She's a pilot. She has the right to say, I don't want to carry this passenger. I think that's part of ICAO rules. So it's a K1 trying to overrule ICAO regulations. But what is important at the end of the day is that, you know, the Minister of Aviation, NCAA, they've said they are going to investigate, and investigations are ongoing. And whatever they come out with, there's nobody that is above the laws of Nigeria. Whether you are a bosom friend of the president or the Olori Omo Akile Jebu or whatever, that's irrelevant. When it comes to aviation, where security is very important. And I think that people should speak of for Mrs. Olunoti Ogoyi, who became a full captain in 2021 and who has had experience in this regard. Her husband is even also a pilot. So all the investigations should look at the circumstances that prevail. But I know that in Nigeria, you know, they try to bury things. So Keyamo has shown courage. He must not chicken out, even if he receives pressure from the villa.
Dr. Abati brings a very crucial layer to his analysis. He starts by saying the absolute number one rule in aviation, security and safety. Everything else is secondary. He rightfully points out that in any other serious country, K1's action on that tarmac would have led to an immediate arrest. You simply cannot obstruct an aircraft. It's a federal offense. He masterfully connects this to the big man syndrome, highlighting that K1, as an Ijebu chief himself, was trying to use his status to intimidate a pilot whose own boss is also an Ijebu man. But in the sky and on the tarmac, there are no chiefs or kings. There are only rules designed to keep everyone alive. Dr. Abati also rightfully defended the pilot who was just doing her job to ensure the safety of all passengers and praises the minister for acting decisively. So here's my critical take on this whole situation. This incident is much bigger than K1 or ValueJet. This is a litmus test for the new administration's commitment to the rule of law and the fight against impunity. For years, we've seen powerful individuals in Nigeria act as if the rules don't apply to them. They drive on the wrong side of the road with armed escorts, just jump queues, and they bully officials who are just trying to do their job. What K1 did was the aviation equivalent of that. It was reckless, entitled, and it endangered lives. This is why the action taken by the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, is so significant and, in my opinion, absolutely commendable by directing the NCAA to place K1 on a no-fly list. He sent a clear, unambiguous message. In Nigeria's aviation space, nobody is above the law. It doesn't matter if you are a musician, a politician, or a billionaire. Safety regulations are non-negotiable. This is the kind of decisive leadership we need. Let's also talk about the pilot, Captain Olunloyo. She is the real hero here. Imagine the immense pressure she was under. A celebrated public figure, a man with powerful connection, is physically obstructing her aircraft. It would have been easy for her to be intimidated, to perhaps bend the rules to avoid a confrontation, but she stood her ground. She prioritized the safety of her passengers and crew over the ego of one individual. Her license was reportedly suspended initially, which was a terrible decision, but thankfully, the minister's intervention seems to have corrected that injustice. Finally, for K1 the Ultimate, as a cultural ambassador and a holder of a significant traditional title, he has a responsibility to be a role model. His behavior was a profound disappointment. He owes the pilot, the passenger on that flight, and the Nigerian public a sincere apology. Your fame and status should be a platform for good, not a license for recklessness. So there you have it, a clear case of impunity meeting a firm and decisive response from the authorities, a win for the aviation safety and the rule of law. But what do you guys think? Was the 6 months no-fly ban on K1 too harsh, or was it the perfect response to send a strong message? Do you think this will change how big men behave in Nigeria? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. I would love to read what you have to say. If you found this breakdown insightful, please give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to Obas Trending Gist and make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss out on the hottest stories. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged. And always question narratives. Bye for now.